Broadcast. I am Hate Mail. With me today, I have Kage.
What's up, fellas?
Seems like it's been a while since you've been on, Kage.
Yeah, you guys were doing like a 10, 20 podcasts without me, so, decided to step back for a bit.
I ask in chat. Nobody ever responds, so half the time I go outside of WROL Broadcast to get people.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't been keeping up. I didn't even see it.
Yeah.
So, now that I'm back, still can't get my live stream to work properly, so I'm going to have to do this for a while. What are we talking about today?
We are going to let's do Grodd and Lobo because I have family coming in town in less than a week. And for those of you listening, I do have one other episode planned, which will be our holiday special. We'll hopefully get recorded this week, and I'll publish. Probably will not have a ton of video for that one. And then we'll probably be on hiatus for the rest of the year. I might try to squeeze out a Red Tornado episode if time permits, but I can't promise anything. So if you're looking for the before the sale ends, we may not have one. But we did do the episode with Burger, so you saw him. Red Tornado does look pretty good and fun.
Yeah.
I'm pretty high on him. So let's start with Lobo and we'll end with Grodd because I know you like Grodd a lot.
All right.
I am actually surprisingly, I really didn't want to like Lobo, and I didn't like him at first, but I've been warming up to him really fast, and I'm kind of starting to think he might be an RB5 candidate because I think he will be a nightmare at RB5.
Yeah. Lobo's pretty good now, but what I just don't like about one of his legendaries is his turn meter up. And if you want him as a taunter, why would you want turn meter up to, lose your taunt faster? So the only way to fix that, I think, is make his taunt a two-turn taunt, but then he'd be oppressive,
Yeah.
So I think he works on offense and defense in that on offense, if you lose a teammate, you can actually kind of even out, I guess you can kind of even out the scoreboard a bit where the other team doesn't get, he stops the other team from building momentum by giving your team by giving them turn meter down actually. And so I think I like that, but he's also scary on defense where if you lose a character or if they lose a character, you're losing turn meter. So
You're losing
he
a
is
ton of
scary.
turn meter, and in most cases 30%. I mean, that is so much turn meter.
That's oppressive, to be honest with you. So it's kind of scary.
I mean, he's basically like Red Hood out of lead. That works on both sides. Lose a tune or kill a tune.
Yeah. The only redeeming factor that doesn't make him as oppressive is he doesn't steal your buffs or anything. So
yeah,
I think that's nice.
That does kind of save him. I do kind of wish I wouldn't have taken his 4 where you gain the turn meter because I think he is more effective without it. The only reason I took it is because it does allow me to stun faster. And with Hawk Girl, that makes him, if you kill somebody, he does this taunt, then you can use his Space Hog again, and then you can stun again, and then get more turn meter to Hawk Girl, and then just kind of keep the gravy train going.
Right. So in certain instances, the turn meter up is good because it gives him more turns, right?
Yeah, and I can see where people want, if they're using him on a bleed-centric team, that would be where you would want that too. So I would say 4 is kind of dependent. The majority of teams, you probably don't want it at all. But for those 2 specific instances, I think he's better. It's better with it. His goal isn't to die necessarily, but it's when anyone dies. So.
Well, now, Baby Lobo versus Daddy Lobo. How do you feel about that? Because back then, for our newer players who don't know, he was a top tier red at the time just for being gear 0. You just killed him a million times, and he would just stack up buffs for Deathstroke. So, how do you feel about Baby Lobo now that we have more characters like Black Mask and other characters who kind of benefit off of like a dead teammate?
Well, I think you can still build. I think you can build insane cheese teams with Constantine, Lobo, and Black Mask. I mean, you can make it so oppressive.
But do you think it works better as a Daddy Lobo or Baby Lobo?
I still think Baby Lobo because you can't AoE. You can't. the enemy, especially if you're trying to cheese on offense, the AI is always going to attack him when he's not geared.
Mhm.
So I think for that purpose, Baby Lobo lives on again. I mean, you might be able to even do a Deathstroke team again and make Deathstroke halfway decent
Right.
with him having, because he can infinitely revive. The difference is between now and back then is there's a million heal immunity characters
Right.
that make it so much harder to do. But I still think I think you could still get away with it. So if you don't have Lobo geared and you like to run the revive teams, you could so do it right now without any problems.
Yeah. And I think Huntress being reworked, how she is, she can pretty much knock those teams out anyway. So,
Yeah, I mean,
I
you
mean,
could
it's not...
run. The only other caveat that you could run is Brainiac or have Grodd on your team, and he'll
Mhm.
protect him from Huntress.
Oh, is that how it works?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Wow.
They'll,
Okay.
they'll survive those, so that still has some potential.
Okay. Well, that being said, what would you say his legendary order would be?
I've kind of been looking at him, and I think I would probably go. Let me take a look at what I had. I originally wrote this into my legendary order guide, but I'm kind of now that I've been playing with him a lot, I'm not sure if I want to change anything. Let me just pull that up. But I mean, I think he's a great character. If you're on the fence on gearing him, definitely gear him. I think I would probably definitely go with his 2 first. The 15% turn meter down to all enemies, plus an additional 15% turn meter to enemies above 50% health. That's his bread and butter, man. That's the reason you bring him. Even if you're doing Baby Lobo, you almost want him L1 just to have that.
Oh, just to put turn meter down on people. Yeah, I didn't take that legendary. I actually went with 1, 3, and 5, actually. But
Yeah, I mean his 2. I mean his 2 is the reason you bring him. That turn meter
yeah,
down 30% in most cases. It's just that can be oppressive.
yeah. Okay.
Then I
So you
like
went 2. Okay.
Yeah, and then I like his 5 because the Space Hog. I mean, even if you're not building a stun team, that Space Hog always applying stun. The great thing about it
Hmm.
is if the enemy's taunting, it always goes to the taunter. And then if
Yeah.
there's only one person left, it's always going to stun that person. So it's a guaranteed stun. Does heavy damage now. It's not real heavy, but it's pretty good. That's why I think at RB5 he'd be pretty scary.
He does pretty good damage now. That's kind of
Yeah, a lot better
weird
now.
to think about.
And I really think L2 is really all you need. Like the rest of it would be good. Like his 1 is really good, but I think his like L2 is where you shine. And then
Yeah.
I'm kind of torn between his 1 and 3 because the 3 is really good if um, if you're losing tunes or if you're using them as a baby. But I think if you're doing it as an adult Lobo,
Hmm.
right, his 1 is probably what I would take next because it's nice that they can't miss the 2 bleeds.
Yeah, I think 1. I would prefer 1 over 3,
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
and then yeah, 1 and 3, and then 4 you can leave as a toss up. I wouldn't take it, but if you're running like a stun or bleed team, which is his niche, he can fit in both comps now, which is actually really interesting. Then yeah, go ahead and take that. I don't think it would kind of hurt your strategy if that's what you want to do.
And for those of you listening, I did not suggest the stun on his kit. That was just something the devs came up with on their own. So it was kind of surprising to me because Lobo's not a character I ever really wanted to like because I've always hated him so much from Baby Lobo days. I like the character comic book wise, but I just did not. He was so oppressive that I despised him, so I never really wanted to see him come back to life. But now, now that I've been using him for a while, I've warmed up to him a lot and pretty high
Yeah.
on him.
No, when I fight him, I use Artemis to stun him right away. But yeah, I don't want to deal with him, so I kind of stun him and then use the AoE and then take him out. Wait, I don't want him. I don't want to deal with him. He's the first to go.
Yeah, he's a pain in the butt character because when he kind of gets going, he takes over the match and it becomes a nightmare.
Right.
And speaking of which, characters who kind of can build momentum and take over a match is Grodd, who I really wish he wasn't green because I just can't fit him into my comps because I just have too many green characters that I want to run for the types of teams I like to run. But he's a great character and he works really well with Lobo actually. They both gain momentum when the enemy is dying. I love the team that you came up with, Kage, which there'll be video of in here, which is Brainiac lead, Artemis, which Artemis, I have to say, she's become, I think, my favorite character in the game. I just use her on
Yeah.
every team for some reason or another, just about. I mean,
Yeah.
she solves problems. And Grodd, and then Spectre of all people, which Spectre deals with the Harlequins and the Taunters without hitting them and causing retaliation, and he can't miss. So man, I can't wait for Spectre's rework. On a side note, but
Yeah.
I think
I
he'll be
think
great.
I think his 2 needs to rework. I don't like how inconsistent the stun is.
Yeah, it should
But
be 100%. There's no reason it shouldn't.
and then like sometimes he'll like purge all of Harley's buffs, or he won't purge all of Harley's buffs. So it's kind of like really inconsistent like that. So
Yeah, and he's not strong enough to not merit that.
right,
I mean, he wouldn't be even remotely OP with that. But he pairs super well with Grodd. Like those two are match made in heaven.
exactly. Yeah. So Grodd, I think, is a pretty good character now. He he's really scary once he does his AOE because you don't know if he's gonna come at you with his Gorilla Fist, and so he usually one hits my Lex if he uses his AOE and kills Lex with his basic.
Yeah, and my Grodd on offense always uses his fist on Lobo, and somehow always manages to kill him. And
He never
there'd be four
revives.
people alive. Well, no, I'm talking about my Grodd always kills, or he gets called, or Grodd when Lex does his
Yeah,
call
that's what I
assist.
meant. He
Yeah,
he doesn't revive.
and then then he calls assist, kills Lobo on the enemy team. The Lobo revives, slows my team, stuns my team, and then I call assist again and he does it over again. This
Yeah.
speed just gone so bad for me. The RNG's been just horrific. And my Lobo never revives, ever, ever. There could be 3 people alive. 1% chance I think it is that he can't revive.
Jesus,
He,
that was terrible, RNG.
it's horrible. I have some video of it I'll include in here. But I mean, Grodd is one of the characters at first I wasn't sure, and then the more I use him in Siege, he's so good with Lex, which I hate. Um, but he's a really solid character, and I really really like the intellect stealing. Now that he does good damage and it's all special, and I like too. The other thing I really like about him is because, as some of you may know, I Rebirth 5 Flash a long time ago, and I don't get a lot of use for him. But Grodd kind of is a great bridge from the stun teams to the speed teams, since he can do both. So it kind of gives me a little bit of mix and match. So I'm thinking about taking up Red Tornado potentially to kind of mix with that team because I just have so few good blue Rebirth characters. So he's fun. He's strong. I mean, he's one of those characters he needs to get going, but once he gets going, he gets crazy.
Yeah, I like how he's no longer needed as a leader. So, now he can go on universally any stun comp without having to switch out your leaders.
I
So,
really thought that death immunity, that's kind of similar to Brainiac's, damage immunity would be a lot better. It's good, and it definitely has saved me a few times, but it's not as good as I'd hoped. I thought it was going to be kind of like, you were going to just slot Grodd instead of Brainiac when you see Wonder Girl or characters that you're trying to defend against, or like Azrael. But because they can just take you to 0 and then the next turn you get sneezed on and die, it doesn't save you as much as I thought it would.
yeah, I was hoping that the death immunity you receive would protect you from bleeds and disease, but I guess not.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to.
So, I think I don't know why they put that death immunity there or what the purpose of it was. Um, I guess it was supposed to be like a half-assed Brainiac leader deal, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
It's not
Legendary,
bad.
because
It's not as good as I thought it was, and I kind of like thought it was
right,
going to be originally. I think on my list I had that as my first thing to take, but I'm not sure I'd take it first anymore.
yeah. Originally, I thought 5 and 1 were the key legendaries, but now I'm reconsidering.
Yeah,
What would you? What would?
I'm
Yeah, what would
thinking
you do?
one. I think one is the first one for him. I mean, that stealing intellect is kind of key to. I guess if you're not facing an intellect team, though, it's kind of worthless.
Right. I mean, Lex is everywhere, but even then, sometimes you don't even run Grodd versus Lex. So I would probably do.
There's really no other. There's really no other legendary I think is key. I almost think I'd go 1-5 because those are still his. Actually, yeah, maybe still keep 5-1 first because it's still.
Because his kit doesn't really need his other legendaries either.
No, I mean he's one of those characters you don't. I mean you could have him R5 and be fine. You're
And he does all his purposes, yeah. Just have him R5, he's viable.
I'm gonna just list on the legendary order.
Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I'm just gonna put legendary orders, whatever you want, because it's really dependent on what you run. I mean, if you're running like a flash-based team, you want the speed ups. If you're running a
Right.
Lex team, you kind of want the buffs.
So, I mean, the speed ups helps you to ramp up. I mean,
Yeah,
your characters like Eclipso and Artemis will gain a little bit more turns, but speed ups in this game, you kind of need like a million of them to really see the benefits.
yeah, yeah. I don't think its legendary orders are real important. I think it's whatever you want it to be.
Yeah. But I will say in Siege, because my Grodd is L4, and so when I see an L5 Grodd with Lex, everything he does buffs Lex, whereas, my buffs, or nothing I do, unless I'm using as 1 or as 2, I don't get to get buffs, right? So, if you're running a Lex team, obviously you're going to want to take 1, 2, and 3 just to have all moves that buff for you.
Yeah, and let's talk just briefly. And I don't know if you geared him. Did you gear Amazo?
I have not geared Amazo. I think, didn't you record an episode with Loot?
No, we never did. 2D Tron has an episode out, I think, and he took his L5 right away. I will say that he's slightly better than I originally gave him credit for. I actually started facing him a lot in Siege, and I think part of the reason that was is that people were using him because he's got a fast steal early, so it's faster than most of the Siege bonus tunes. So you can steal a taunt or steal something. So I think I'm starting to see a little bit of people warming up to him, so I think maybe he's not quite as bad. He's not, an Adam level character. He's still not
Yeah.
good, but I wouldn't go out of your way for him, but I think he's a little better than we originally thought. I'm going to play with him a little more. I only have him L2 right now because I didn't buy any of his packs. So we're not going to
I
do an
think,
episode a full
yeah.
episode on him, I don't think. So if you want a full review, 2D has a video out on YouTube.
Yeah, I think the consensus right now, he's probably somewhere around B, but I haven't played with him. I don't really care for disease comps, so I'll
Most
just
people
have to
on
take,
here and think probably closer to a C, but C2.
yeah.
Like he's still not great, but you can make him work kind of thing in certain comps, in certain scenarios. He does fit certain disease comps a little bit. I don't know. I'm gonna play with him a little more once I get him to L5 later in the month, and when we do our tier list, we'll probably give him a full review. Loot doesn't like him at all. He thinks he's trash, but that's not a shocker to most people, I think.
I mean, Loot thinks every character who isn't Azrael is trash. Well, even Loot, I don't know, Loot thinks Azrael's broken, but he doesn't even like Azrael either, like, using him, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't,
yeah, he's not a great character, but we'll see. We should hopefully know the tunes for next month sooner than later because they usually tell us way early because of the Christmas holiday. So,
yeah, I'm
since
thinking this week, actually.
yeah, it's coming week coming up, we should probably get the announcements maybe towards the end of the week before everybody goes on holiday. So, because usually the devs are usually gone for like the last 2 weeks of the year, if I remember correctly,
Yeah,
when we
they
don't
do.
have raids. So, hopefully we'll have something. We'll have our holiday episode if they've made the announcement. I think we're recording on Thursday. If they made the announcement by then, yeah, maybe we can talk about it anyway. And
Yeah.
then we can release the episode late. So we'll do that. So
All
anyway,
right.
with that, we will go ahead and wrap it up. Till next
All
time,
right.
guys. Thanks. Happy
Later,
New
fellas.
Year. We'll talk about it on the holiday episode.
Hi, this is Kitty Little. Thank you for listening to this episode of WROL Broadcast. If you liked the show, please check out patreon.com/WROL Broadcast and find out how to get cool perks. You know, I sent Kage nudes. He thought I was cold and sent me a shirt. Thank you, Kage.